All right, my financial gurus, we talked before about compound interest. There was so much to talk about that we figure we'll do kind of like a part 2, because we didn't even get into taxes and fees and all that good stuff. So tell us about compound interest. And you had mentioned before it's the 8th wonder of the world. Why don't you elaborate on that a little bit?
When you look at it, it is the 8th wonder of the world. If you can put money into an account and not touch it and allow it to compound and allow that to grow to eternity, you're gonna, I mean, the miracle is there. But the problem is that in the financial world, there are so many things that erode that compounding effect of our dollars. And one thing that I was mentioning was just fees alone. Fees inside the accounts, what the advisors are charging, even though we take assets under management, it is the eroding factor of that miracle of compounding interest that's going to affect the overall impact of those dollars.
Because you're actually reducing the compounding effect when you reduce the account for the fees that are due.
Absolutely.
What kind of fees do they normally take out?
Stacey, that's kind of a loaded question based on the asset that you're investing in, whether it's mutual funds or whether it's advisory platforms. It just really depends, but there's always fees associated with that, right? There's no such thing as a free lunch. So that is going to impact and kill that compounding effect inside that account. John,
let me stop you real quick. Would it be better to pay those fees from somewhere other than that account? If I paid it from somewhere else, would that account continue to grow uninterrupted?
That account would continue to grow uninterrupted, right? However, you still have the impact then of where the fees came from out of the other account. So no matter you look at it, you know, Mr. CPA over here, right? You can net the account to pay the tax or the fees, but if you have another account somewhere, you're killing the compounding in a different account.
True.
Right. So at the end of the game, at the end of the day, your bottom line is still going to be impacted, and that compounding is still going to be affected by the result of fees.
Damn fees.
And the other thing is that, you know, just by the very nature of what we call asset allocation, right? When you look at the young person, they'll say, hey, you can take on more risk. You could be in a 70% equity position and maybe a 30% bond position. And that client is taking on that approach, and as they start getting older, what is the recommendation, right? They're saying, okay, you're getting closer to retirement.
Yeah.
So there's a formula, 100 minus your age, right? Is typically what they'll calculate for. Okay, 100 minus your age. You're in the 50s. You should be maybe in more of a 60-40 equity split. Well, if you look at that, for the very nature of compounding, if you're in a higher equity position, and now you move more into a bond position, what have you just done?
I have no idea.
Well. Typically, the compounding rate of return on the equities is going to be higher than the bonds, right?
Okay.
So typically, what happens is just by the very nature of asset allocation and repositioning your assets, you have just killed the compounding effect, the 8th wonder of your world, of your overall portfolio.
So the slope of the curve decreases.
The slope of the curve decreases. In effect, it reduces and kills the compounding of what you could have had by the very nature of asset allocation. And then it comes into, which I'll allude to Brian a little bit, just because he's a CPA, but the impact of taxes. So many people don't talk about the impact of taxes as it relates to our money and where it sits and where it's positioned and what that does to us over time as we compound.
Oh, I think people are shocked when they look at how much is taken out, like once they do decide to retire or cash out of a whatever it is, how much taxes are really taken out. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And I don't know, I mean, taxes to me seem like they're just going to keep going up.
Yeah.
There's so many things we haven't paid for as a nation. We've got a huge debt. And where's that money going to come from? Well, it's going to come from, us is who it's going to come from. And one of the things that I've focused a lot on is just the impact of taxes on the miracle of compound interest. You see, as your money earns money, it goes on your tax return, and it's called taxable income. And to begin with, we figure out how to pay that tax from some other pocket, not from the account, but from some other pocket. And we see our refund at the end of the year go down, go down, go down. And every year it goes down, and pretty soon we owe the government, okay? Because we've just been taking money out of a different pocket. So now we have to start taking money out of the account itself, because now we're out of the refund. And in those early years, when the taxes on the growth of your account comes out of your refund, it's really coming out of your lifestyle. Because that's money you're not getting back in April to go on vacation with or do something with. But now you're actually taking money out of the account. And every time you take money out of the account, the slope gets less, and the miracle, which is the exponential curve of compound interest, dissipates. It goes away. And so that's why a lot of people get to their 50s, 60s, and after 30 or 40 years of compounding interest, they realize, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
This is not miraculous. I don't have what I thought I was going to have.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we not ahead, right?
Yeah, why are we not ahead?
And the reality is, too, Brian, they can get to a point to where their contributions are equal to their tax liability inside the account.
Yeah, I've seen that happen in a number of cases. Just as an example, someone might have a decent portfolio, and they've been putting $5,000 a year into this portfolio to help it grow, but then they realize that the taxes on the growth of that portfolio was $5,000. So the tax equaled what I was putting in, so you just say, well, why should I put any money in at all?
Right, it doesn't make any sense.
And we stop, and that, of course, interrupts the compound interest curve, and the miracle doesn't work.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people that are like, what? I might as well just keep it in savings.
Yeah. Or keep it in the mattress. It doesn't make any difference.
Keep it under the mattress.
I can't, the taxes are just eating me alive.
Yeah.
And they will.
And I think, too, another important part to discuss is that as we're talking about taxable accounts and the impact of taxation inside the accounts, I mean, there is deferral type accounts where the miracle doesn't get derated by the taxation. However, you still have asset allocation and you still have market volatility. That's going to make you change and adjust to just sitting there and letting that compound and miracle happen.
Right.
If people come to you, like, what is the best way for if they're planning retirement, if they're looking at the best way to do that? Do you just say bring in everything? I need to see what you have in all your different areas, so we can try to see what's going to be best for you.
So the way that we look at it is that we, as financial coaches, it's like, how can you make a play, or how can you design a play without knowing all the facts, right? So we need clients. We're not on the belief system of where's your money at, how much do you have, if you move it to us, we'll do a lot better. That's not the game that we play.
That's just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Right. Okay. The way that we look at it is we need to get everything that you're doing so we can analyze it and strategize and see where you're losing money unknowingly and unnecessarily away from your wealth and income potential, and help you strategize and help you understand these financial concepts. Right? It's a matter, we never tell you what to think.
Right.
Our job is to help coach you so you can start making your own decisions, because the financial institutions have 4 rules. Right? They want our money. They want it on an ongoing basis. They want to hang on to it as long as they can, and they want to give as little back as possible.
Yes.
And so when people are positioning their assets, one, they have to understand where they're getting all this financial noise or media that I call from, or that I call the information that they're getting, right, and who's that benefiting. And 2, we have to start helping people understand what the exit strategies are in relation to their assets. People put money in so many places that they have no idea how they're going to pull those assets or to get those assets out in distribution. They have no idea, right? So, short answer to your question in relation to, we need to wrap our arms around everything that the client is doing, and it becomes what we call our financial blueprint, so to speak. We can help them, like what we mentioned in part 1 about the Monopoly board. We put it on a game board, and it allows us to help educate the clients in relation to coordination, integration of what they're doing, because what they may be doing over here is totally counteracting what they're doing over here, and we want to help them understand that and realize that, and have them come to the aha moments. Well, geez, maybe that doesn't make any sense what I'm doing over here.
Exactly. So, John, if they want to schedule an appointment with you or get together with you and see if they're on the right path, how can they get a hold of you?
They can call our office at 701-223-1000, and they can ask to talk to Misty, and she'll get an appointment set up. You can also go to our website at www.srfinancial.net, and you can read about information about our firm and our company and our associates, and look forward to speaking to you.
Well, thanks for coming in today, guys.
Thanks a lot, Stacey. It's great to be here.
Thanks.